So I am so excited to share with you the basics of what's called the DISC profile. This is a tool that can help you understand yourself and others better, and by identifying different behavioral traits. In this video, I'm going to explain those traits. I'm going to explain how these are beneficial to you and how this can help you improve your personal and professional life. So stay tuned. If you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your life, your health, avoid complications, live the life you've always wanted, creating the life you've always wanted, going to the next level. I am excited because we are in the middle. I am in the middle of Vlogmas. Actually, we're a little over the middle now. This entire month, I've been highlighting people who are doing their thing in their space. We've been learning how to grow, how to expand, how to be successful. Last night we did how to make 2023 an amazing year. That's what we do. That's what I do on the channel. If you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments, and because I'd love to give you a hand clap and some music. That's right, and welcome you here. If you also are new and you have questions, go ahead and put a Q and a colon in front of that question so that we'll know that that's something that we need to get to. Now, you see me in my, I do shout outs, right? So today we had our Christmas party with the kids, and this is supposed to be my ugly sweater, but it actually is a, what is it? Sweatshirt, right? It wasn't ugly. I don't think it's ugly. It's an interesting one, but hopefully you are having a wonderful weekend, had a wonderful weekend, and you are excited about the season as we get to the end of the year. Yeah. So last night, like I said, talked about how to make 2023 an amazing year, and learning about ourselves. Learning about ourselves is so important as we go through that process, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So Vlogmas, what is Vlogmas? Every December, content creators like me come aside and we try to expand, improve, grow, tweak what we do, try to make sure that we're still doing the thing that we said that we want to do, and doing the things that we want to do that's bringing us joy and that is educating and being beneficial to you, our audience, our clients, our patients, our customers. And this allows us to tweak and try new things. This month, I have been highlighting people who are doing things in their space. And we've had a wonderful, amazing conversation with all of them so far. So don't miss an episode, because all of these things are going to be beneficial as we move forward and as we try to improve ourselves, right? So shout out to all of the content creators that are out there that are doing Vlogmas. And you see right over me, I think over here somewhere, yeah, that way, is the logo for Vlogmas. So if you're out there and you see any video, any piece of content that's coming across Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and so forth, go ahead and hop over and make sure that you are supporting those creators as they improve their craft, right? Yeah. So glad that you're here. So people are different. People are different. You knew that, right? People are different, and we interact. We behave differently, and we do things differently. And sometimes that difference can cause problems. I'll give you an example. I remember when when we first started our practice, I would come in the morning, and I'm a kind of a social person, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But I'd walk into the office and someone would come running up to me and say, "Hey, Dr. Wood, the computers aren't working, or this is not working, or that's not working, or that's not there." And that initial interaction didn't always go well, right? Because I am that person. You got to come. You say, "Hey, good morning, Dr. Wood. Notice what they said. Notice the difference. Good morning. How are you doing? Hey, by the way, the computers aren't working." Right? So for me to just jump right into whatever it is, that was a problem. There are people who you talk to. You know some folks right now that you talk to, and you're telling them a story. You're trying to inform them of something. They are on your team. They're your boss. They're your husband. They're your wife. They're your child. and you guys just don't seem to be able to understand each other, right? Because sometimes you're talking a different language. Now, there are differences between how men and women see things and how we talk. That's obvious. But there are also some things that happen based on how we are taught, how we grow, how we're, when we go to school, the interactions we have with our families. But then there are some things that are just our tendencies. This is just how we think. This is how we do things. It has nothing to do necessarily with how we were trained. It's just how we are wired. And because we don't always understand that interaction, then that can sometimes cause a problem, right? We're wired differently. And this can affect our relationships. It can affect our work. It can affect our ability to advance in whatever we're trying to do, because, right, there are some ways that we respond to people that are the way, that's our tendency. That is how we're wired. And so understanding that is important, and having a way to help determine how and why you do some of the things that you do, right? And why people respond in the ways that they do, that can be pretty valuable, right? Because you're like, oh, wait a minute, that they responded that way because it's not personal, it's just the way that they are wired. And so the DISC profile is such a tool. It was originally designed, the idea, I shouldn't say designed, the idea came in 1928 when Dr. William Moulton Marston, who is a PhD in psychology from Harvard, wrote a book, and it's called Emotions of Normal People, right? Emotions of Normal People. And he had this idea that communication and behavior were connected. That communication and behavior were connected. So that if there is good communication, then there's a certain behavior that comes, right? So behavior and communication are connected. Incidentally, this was the same guy also that developed the lie detector, and also the guy who developed or came up with the character for Wonder Woman, right? So he did a lot of stuff, develop Wonder Woman and the lie detector and this idea, okay? Now, he did not know that his book would be used to construct what we now come to know as the DISC profile, right? It's a personality profile system that can help you understand yourself and others and why they do the things they do. And there are 4 things that we're going to talk about, 4 different types that we're going to go through, and those types encompass all the people around us and us, right? So each type has a different strength and weakness, and understanding those can be useful as we interact with people, So let's hop over there. And so this profile explained how understanding your type of the profile can improve your life. So that's what we're talking about, okay? And so there are 4 different types, dominant or decisive, and you're here called different things. So dominant is one of them, and we'll run through all of them here in just a second as we talk through how they work. But first, let's give an example. Let's give a for instance, okay? So I'm going to use my office. And in my office, there are lots of different people. We have a team. And the office has to run because we've got to be able to see patients. And we've got to be able to see patients, and we've got to make the environment a place that people who are there, the team, wants to be. They want to be there, right? Because that's their job. And in fact, if you're working, right, in any capacity, you probably spend more time with the people at work than you do with your people at your house, right? So having a way to interact with them that does not cause not cause anxiety or a problem every day is very important, right? So having a way to communicate with them. So in our office, and years ago, my wife and I went away, and we learned about the disc profile, and we began using and teaching it in our office. And over the years, right, every time we do it, every time we have someone do the disc profile and we go through and we explain it, the light bulb goes off in somebody's head. It's like, wow, is that why I do that, right? So that light bulb is going off. And so it is a invaluable tool that we can use to be able to communicate and get things to go the way we want them to go. Okay, so let's start. And so it's a D, I, S, and C. And let me pull up here really quickly. DISC, so disc profile. And as I said, you will see them listed in lots of different ways. The main four, right? Dominant, influential, steady, and conscientious, right? Those are what we talk about. And I'm trying to pull up. Do you love being on the live? Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's start with the D's. Right? So dominant. Like I said, you'll see them listed in different ways, and I'll pull up a couple of things here in a minute. And so these folks, right? The dominant people, they're decisive, right? And that's the other phrase that you'll hear, decisive. And they're focused on results. For example, if I'm looking around my room, let's assume that I came into my studio and I had a D person working for me. And I say, hey, I need to paint the walls. I need this room cleaned out. Okay. I'd come back an hour later and the room would be cleaned out. I say to them, hey, I need to clean out in an hour. The room would be cleaned out. Now, the goal is to clean out the room, right? So that I can paint the room. I didn't give any other specifics about that. So I'd come back and the room would be clean, but my computers will be in a pile. My video cameras will be in a pile. Stuff will be broken, but the room got cleaned out because with the D, the goal is the goal, right? We got something we got to do. And so they're in the process of, let's get that done. Let's get that. They're focused on results. They can be authoritative, right? And they're not detailed oriented. So we don't, like for instance, I didn't give any information about how to clean the room. I just said it needed to be clean. And so they come in and boom, let's do it. Okay. So the person who is a D, they are very opinionated. The strengths are that they're strong-willed. And if you want something done, if you want stuff to done, you've got to have a D in your life. Like if you've got some goals, you want to have a D, right? Because they're going to get the stuff done. They're quick to act. They're task-oriented. They're competitive, right? That's another thing, right? They're authoritative. The issue is, though, that the D's are not, they can hurt feelings. Let me say that. Because their goal is not to get along with everybody, right? Their goal is whatever they're supposed to be doing. So they can hurt feelings. They can be aggressive. Sometimes they can seem as though they're blunt or rude. And they're not very humble, right? Because they are the movers. They are the doers. And they may seem arrogant. But the abrasiveness is not because they're a bad person, though, because they're being abrasive. They're just focused on whatever it is that they need to be doing. And they tend to leave out details because the details don't matter for them. It is, okay, we got this thing to do. Let's do it. He said, clean the room out. Let's clean it out, right? And they direct others, right? So they can be good leaders, but they direct others forcefully. And as a result, they can shut down conversation. They can shut down questions because there's no reason for a question in their mind. Get the stuff out of the room. That's the goal. And they can respond to conflict with frustration. And under pressure, they can show a lack of concern for other people because, if, for instance, that example that I just gave, hey, I need this room cleaned out in 1 hour. So if you're somebody else coming in and you need to get something or do something or talk to them about something, no, we don't have time for that because I've got a deadline. And in the stress, they can become more demanding, right? More demanding when they're under the stress. And with communication, you've got to be clear. You've got to be clear with them because they are getting ready to go. And if they don't have the right instruction, it doesn't matter because they're doing what you told them. You got to be concise and you got to focus on the facts when you talk to a person who's a style D. Okay, does that make sense? Yep. That's the D. And so when you're talking to a D, or a D is talking to you, understanding where they are coming from is important. Because if they come to you, hey, that is very important. Now, note in a social setting, and if they're at home, right, for our D's and for our non-D's, at home, it is there as well. So this is not just, okay, out in the street, they're like that. This is who they are. This is their natural tendency. And so understanding that is very important. Now, notice the strengths, right? The strengths are they get stuff done. And for the D, person who's a D, understanding the weaknesses, understanding the abrasion, understanding the fact that sometimes the feelings of the people that we're around, we don't consider that. Now we begin to modulate how we interact with people. Because we know we're going to get stuff done, but now we have to learn how to be with people. We have to learn how to interact. We have to learn how to talk to those people. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Very good. All right. So that's the D. That's the D, right? So the dominant or decisive. And like I said, you're going to see that listed as both of those you can see, right? So if somebody's talking about the disc and they're using a different word, right, it's just a different way of referring to that. But they're decisive, they are dominant, right? So on and so forth. All right. So the next one is the I. The next one is the I. And the I is influential or interactive. Influential or interactive. Now, these folks are relational. Everything that they do revolves around relation. They're persuasive. They're expressive. Okay? That's how they get their energy. The D gets energy by completing the task. The I gets energy by the relationship that's built while they're doing the task. Okay? So they're people oriented. They are relational, like I said. They can be impulsive. They're entertaining, persuasive, expressive. They're outgoing, right? And they're fast moving, right? They're people pleasers. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Right. So these are the folks, for instance, this room, if I say, let's clean out the room to an I, they're going to know, okay, who's going to be with me? Is it just going to be me in there in that room cleaning it out? Or is this, and they're not looking for someone to be with them to help them. They're just looking for somebody to be with them so they can talk with them. Right. I remember, and I'll tell you, I am an I. Okay. I'm an I. I'm actually a DI. Right. So that's that's me. That's my profile. And so I remember being down at the University of Alabama, and I was in a computer program down there. And I would come in and I would talk to my advisor. It was a PhD program. I would come in and talk to my advisor, and we'd go through, okay, what are the things that we need to do? What are the formulas? What are the equations, right? And then I would go and I would sit in a room by myself with a computer, and I think it was one of those IBM AIX, I think is what it was called. Yeah, I think it was. If you're out there, let me know if I'm getting that wrong. But one of these IBMs, right? And I would sit in the room and I would program. correct? Because I'm running these simulations by myself. Do you know how hard that was? It was pretty hard, right? Because I'd be up and going. I talk to the guy next door, and walking down, talk to my advisor, right? Because I couldn't be in the room by myself because there's nobody in there, nobody to talk to. The computers weren't talking back at those days. Now we got Siri, we've got Google, we've got all these different things, but you get the idea. So one of the weaknesses for the eyes is they can overlook details. They overlook details. They can be people pleasers. Why are they people pleasers? Because they are relational. And so if there is something that may break the relationship, they don't want that. So they'll please to keep the relationship going. Right? They can be poor time managers, and they can be poor organizers. Because why? Because they are relational, right? Stuff on paper, and they can easily get their feelings hurt, right? Back to that people pleasing. Because it's a relationship that they are building, a relationship that they're doing. They can be too talkative, and they can lack focus, right? So they're all over the place. Now, once again, as we talk about these strengths and weaknesses, there are gradations, right? So there is a spectrum. So I'm giving these to you as though they're absolutes, right? They talk too much, or they're all relationship. And it's not like that. It's a combination of things that's in that person. But these are their tendencies. Their tendencies. And they may even come off as silly sometimes to those people who don't understand their high I tendencies. Right? Because they're relational. And so you're trying to talk about clean out the room, and that's not where they are. They're talking about, hey, how is grandma? Oh, that's right. Last week we were doing such and such. How is that going? Right? So what are they doing? They are building relationship. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it has nothing to do with them not wanting to do the work, but in the work, there's a relationship. Okay. How do they respond to stress? They responded with charm. And under pressure, they can act overconfident or set unrealistic expectations. And because they're relational, they tend to talk. And so they can rely on their ability to talk too much when they're overly stressed. Because they believe that they can create a relationship, they can talk, they can build, they can handle that with a relationship. Right? So there's some stress. Yeah, I can talk people into let's get rid of the stress. Let's everybody kumbaya. Let's everybody pitch in. Let's everybody, right? So they rely on their ability to talk. And for these folks, the I is not the person that you send an email to. Why? Because they need relationships. So this is the person, if you got something to do, if you want to do a meeting, it has to be a meeting in person. Or if you need to tell them, you got to call them and say, hey, this is what's going on. Now, I'll tell you, there's some okay, let me tell about myself, okay? So there are some times where my wife has sent me an email on something. I mean, it's right there, right? It's in the email. As she said, right? She spelled it out. And I'll call her up and say, hey, what was that, right? And I'll ask her the question. She said, didn't I send you an email? Yes, right? But that connection, they need that. That's the I. One of the things, I guess let's go back to D's for a minute. One of the things for the D is their main question usually is when, right? They focus on when something is going to happen. Clean out the room. When does it have to be done? With the I, they focus on who is involved with something, right? Clean out the room. Who is going to be there? Who's going to be part of this thing? Right? Okay. And then moving on, We've got the steady, right? People who are steady. And you can see steady listed also as stabilizing. They are deep listeners. They're easygoing. They're accepting, and they avoid conflict. So steady or stabilizing, those two words you'll see, right? They're deep listeners. They're easygoing. They're accepting. They avoid conflicts. And for them, the question is why. They focus on why something is being done. So clean out the room. Okay, why do we need to do that? And it's not a obstinate or a confrontational why. That's not it, right? It's not that they don't want to do it. They just need to know why it's being done. Right? Are we cleaning it out for somebody's moving in? Are we cleaning it out because we're getting rid of the computers? Are we cleaning it out because, right? So they need to know why. And so their strengths are they're friendly, they're consistent, they're hard workers, they're optimistic, they're pleasant to be around. Excuse me. They can be calm. They're protective, right? So because they like everybody to get along. They want everything to be done in order. And they're very careful. Most people, not most people, the majority of people are S's. The majority of people around you have S in them. Yeah. So their weakness is they want to avoid all forms of conflict. So if you got an S at work and you put an S in charge of hiring somebody, you may not get what you think you're getting, right? Because they don't want to have conflict. So they're not going to ask maybe the hard questions that need to be asked, right? If you have a position where people are rotating through the position because they are having problem with the process, right? So you have a process that you need, and you need somebody to do that process. So you're trying to hire somebody who's capable of doing that. You're going to explain the process to them. And so this S is now interviewing, and they explain what's going on to the person who's the interviewee. And they get some pushback from that person. Well, I don't think that's, I don't know if I can do that, right? So what do? Right? They avoid that conversation. So now you hire this person and you never really had the conversation about, can the person do this? Are they willing to do this? Does this fit into what they're thinking about? Yeah. They resist change because change can't just happen for change's sake, right? There has to be a reason. And when there has to be change, they tend to lean on other people to help them through the process. Under pressure, they can seem to be too accommodating. Back to this idea of the interview, right? So all of a sudden they've hired the person, but they didn't really vet the person because they didn't want to have a problem. Somebody at work, somebody at home says, hey, I need I need this. And they say yes because they don't want conflict. Right? And they often take constructive criticism personally. Constructive feedback, they take it personally. Right? Because once again, they want everybody to get along. The D, yeah, you can give me constructive criticism all you want. The I is going to be a people pleaser. And the S takes it personally. It's like, oh, what's wrong with me? So their response to criticism is, or conflict, that is, and stress is they resist the change. And it's not that they don't want to do the change, but change does not come readily to them. So they seem obstinate. They seem resistant. What they're fearing is the loss of stability. So they're used to things being a certain way, and they don't want that to change. For them, it's often hard to tell when they're upset. They do have deep feelings, but they don't always express it. And when they're faced with conflict, they may shut down, or it might seem like they aren't taking things seriously. And for them, communication, when you come to a meeting with an S, come prepared to bring an agenda, or bring an agenda, or prepare an agenda and bring it. Right? Because they're going to want to know. Why are we doing that? Why are we changing that? Why are we doing, right? So they want to know what's going on. So that's our S. That's our S. And then the final type is a C. The final type is a C. And the C is conscientious or cautious. Conscientious or cautious. And these are folks who are focused on facts. They love detail. That list, right, that they create and going back and checking it off. Oh, yeah, they love that. They love that. They can be reserved and they can appear inflexible. But the inflexibility is because they're processing. Right? The D and the I, you're going to answer right back. Hey, can we do this? Sure, yeah. When and who's going to be there? The S is, okay, why are we doing that? And then the C is how. They focus on how something is going to get done. Hey, I need you to clean out this room. Sure. I need you to clean it up by, in an hour. Sure. Okay, how are we going to do that? Where are we putting the stuff? Who's coming to help? Now, they want to know who, not because they want to know somebody to talk to. They want to know who. How are we going to get this done in an hour? Where are we going to put the stuff? On the sidewalk? Do we have boxes to put it in? When we're finished with it, what happens? Who's putting it back in the room? How long is it going to take to paint the room? Right? Notice all of that. So their strengths are they are perfectionistic. They're task-oriented. They're systematic. They're structured. They're careful. If you have a business, you want a C. In fact, in your life, you want a C. Right? The C is going to help keep your money safe. They're careful. They're analytical. They're accurate. If you're getting into an argument with a C, you're going to lose. If it's an argument about some detailed stuff, no. Because when they come to you to talk to you, they've already done the research. Because they don't say anything until they have the data. Right? And this can be frustrating, this can be frustrating to people who are not C's. Right? For an I, right? Because the I, let's go. You want to go on a trip? Sure. Let's get in the car. Let's go. You want to go to New York? Sure. Let's hop on the plane. Right? But the C is like, okay, when are we going? How much money do we have to spend? Where are we going to stay? What time do we need to leave? What are we taking with us? Who's going, right? Notice that list. I was listening to, was it Chris Hogan? Yeah, Chris Hogan. He was telling the story that, so his wife called, and you guys have seen, it probably on TikTok. All right, I think I see this. It's a similar idea. His wife, his wife is away. I'm trying to get the story. His wife is away, and his friend calls him and tells him, "Hey, Chris, just want to let you know that we had the baby. Yeah, we had a baby. It's a boy, and the wife and child are doing okay." Right? Conversation, typical conversation. And so he gets off the phone. He calls his wife because she's away. And he says to her, hey, got a call. And they had the baby. And she said, hey, what baby did they have? He said, oh, it's a boy. It's like, okay, cool. Right? And this is where it goes wrong. Because then she says, what? What's his name? And he's like, I don't know, boy name? How much did he weigh? Baby weight? How tall is he? How long is he? I don't know. Because all he did, right? All he got was baby was born. It's a boy. Baby's healthy. Mom's healthy. Done. But for her, she needed more detail. Now, part of that is the difference between men and women. But a lot of it also comes into these types that we have. Right? So C's, they're cautious. They're researchers. They're researchers. When they come to you and they say, hey, what do you think about us buying that car? Whatever car it is. What do you think about us living in that or moving? Or what do you think about taking this job? Or what do you think about, right? They already got the detail. They've got the research already. They can be tactful and they are factual. So weaknesses for C's is that they don't manage stress and pressure well. Right? And they can seem rigid. They won't volunteer their information unless they know all the little ins and outs of it, right? So I've asked before, hey, can you tell me such and such? I've asked my wife, can you tell me such and such? And she said, well, no, I can't tell you because I don't have. All I need is a big picture, right? But C's, right, they have to be accurate. Sometimes they can come across as critical, right, to other people because they're the data that you're giving them, they're trying to fill in the stuff you missed. Can you imagine an I or a D relaying information to a C? Right? Yeah. Hey, just like the example we just gave. Yeah. So you go to a party, for example, and say your C wife, C husband doesn't go. C mother, C child. And they say to you, and you're an I or D, they say to you, hey, how was the party? It was good. And that's where you're done. You're finished because the I had a good time. And the D, they went to the party and the party is over. They've achieved what they're supposed to achieve. Well, who was there? A bunch of folks. How many people do you think were there? I don't know. What did you all have? Food. What did you drink? Drinks. And their response to conflict, they respond to conflict and with and anxiety with facts and detail. So they can come across as being too critical. Right? There's some stress going on and the I's are feeling it. The D's want to do something about it. The S want to make sure that everybody is settled, and the C's are giving data. Mm-hmm. So they sometimes will take a passive approach to conflict. They're not avoiding it, but it's passive. They may isolate themselves or overanalyze the situation. And for them, if you're having a meeting, don't schedule too many meetings, first of all. And when you do, you better bring a formal agenda. You got to bring the stuff. This can't just be some kind of, waving the hand. They got to have stuff. Like, what is it? When is the timeline? So DISC. DISC. Those are the personalities, and these are tendencies. Okay, this is not 100%. This is not to pigeonhole you, to put you in a box, but this is how you are likely, based on your traits, likely to respond. Dominant, influential, steady, conscientious. So how does that play out? How does that really play out? Okay. Let's assume that we wanted to build a house. And so we got everybody together and say, hey guys, we're going to build a house. And as soon as I say that, the D's would get up. They're running out. They say, wait, where are you guys going? Well, we're going to rent some heavy machinery. We need to get some hose. We need to get some tools, right? Notice we didn't talk about where the house is going to be. We didn't talk about it, but they're ready to go. They're ready to move because that's their thing. Okay. When does it have to be done? Same group. We have them in there. Say, hey, we're going to build a house. The eyes are up now. He said, wait, where are you guys going? Right? Well, we're going out. We need to get some chips. We need to get some dip. We need to get some music. We're going to put out an Instagram post to let everybody know we're about to build this house. See who can come over and help us, right? Notice what's happening. The D's are moving because they're going to dig some earth. The I's, it's a social event for them. They're going to get people to come over. The S's, they're like, okay, why are we building the house? Because we have one. What neighborhood are we going to build it in? Are the neighbors nice? Do they want us there? Are all the workers who coming, are they going to get along with each other? Right? So different people thinking about it differently. And the S's, I mean, the C's haven't moved yet, right? Because they're looking at you. It's like, what kind of house are we building? Is it a brick or aluminum siding? Is it a ranch style, 2-story? Does it have a basement? Is it on a slab? Is it in a crawl space? How much money do we have to build this house? Do you have an architect? Can I see the designs? Right? Who's the contractor? Now, I'll tell you, if you're building a house, you want all those people. You want some of all the people. If you're building a business, you want some of all of those people. And understanding, right? If you're in a family, a husband, wife, children, mother, father, right? Cousins. If you're in a family, understanding how all those people, what their tendencies are, how they interact with each other. Man, imagine the fulfillment. Imagine the joy. Imagine the richness that comes from understanding that. Now, in our office, we joke with each other, right? We'll say, okay, that's the I coming out right there. That's the C. That's the S. Okay, I see that. Oh, that's the D. Right? Because you now can identify it. So up on our walls. Hey, Dark Side. Welcome, man. He said, great info, Dr. Wood. What's up, man? Thanks for coming through. Let me give you a hand clap and some music. Woohoo! Yeah, thanks for stopping through. So yeah. So in our office, we've done the disc profiles, and we have our pictures and we have our profile up there so people can see it, people can look at it, so they can know. And the intent is that when you talk to somebody, that you understand how you're giving information so that you give information the way they need it. And when they respond to you, you can understand why they responded that way. I mean, this is amazing, not just for the business arena. This is amazing for in your house. So if we're going to work on making 2023 an amazing year, as we talked about last night in our last episode, part of it is we got to go into 2023 with some tools that are going to help us. Right? We went through those seven keys, those steps that we needed for 2023. As you get there, this is an amazing tool to take with you. because you get to understand how and why you do things. When I took the DISC test those years ago, the DISC profile evaluation, and I got my profile back and I started looking through that thing, I was amazed because there were things that I did or ways that I thought or ways that I responded that I now was like, oh my goodness, look at that. That's it right there. I now know why I do that. And then I now know why people responded to me in certain ways and why they did stuff. But most people never take the time to figure out their own person, right? They never figure out who they are. And as a result, they're always struggling with things they could have avoided if they only knew what their natural tendencies were. So whether you're looking for improvement in your personal relationships, or you want to know more about yourself, or you want to improve your job satisfaction, this is a tool. This is a tool that you can use that gives you an idea on how to successfully interact with other people. I was talking to somebody recently and talking about taking a trip or even planning a party. Can you imagine? Let's plan a party as a D, as an I, as an S, and as a C. What do you think happens? Let's plan a party. Okay, sure. The D's. Okay, let's go. It's like, where are we going? But we're going to go to the party. Well, where is it going to be? They don't even know that yet. But they're heading out. And the I's, for the party, you want I's, by the way. Right? Because they're getting the music, they're getting the DJ, they're finding the hall, they're getting the people that come out, they're putting up the Evites. Do we do Evites anymore? They got the posts on the social media platforms. They're figuring out what food we got, right? Because it's going to be a party. It's going to be jumping. And the S's are like, okay, let's make sure that we invite the right people. We don't want, remember those people, they don't get along with these ones over here. We want to make sure everybody is settled. Everybody is there. And by the way, why are we having this party? I mean, is it a Christmas party? Right, Christmas party. And what are the C's saying? Well, how many people coming? How many people can the hall hold? How much food do we need to order? Do we have enough money for the food? How long is it going to be? What time are we starting? It's just amazing to think about all those people together. And imagine the and I said it again already, the wealth, the incredible richness that occurs when these people are together, because all of them have strengths and we need all of them to do the things that we need to do, that we want to do. So how can it improve your life? Understanding this, it improves your relationships. It helps you understand why you do the things you do. Some of the reasons. Why you respond the way you do. And why people respond the way they do. And so having that information allows us now to make a decision. Because remember, our thought, our orientation, our perspective dictates what we do. What we do dictates our result. Yep. Wow. So great information. And I keep telling everybody, I continue to learn so much as I talk and as I go through all of this information. So as I'm talking to you, this is stuff that's reflecting back on me, right? So that's what I love about all the things that I do here. Okay, this is a great place for us to hop over and do our amazing question wheel. So let's jump over there really quickly and get that done. All right, this is our amazing question wheel. If you've been with us before, you know what this is all about. If you haven't, this is what you're seeing on the screen. A wheel with questions. I'm going to spin the wheel. I'm going to answer the question, whatever question it lands on, and I'm going to give an answer that is concise, practical, usable, can't be nonsensical, and I have to do it in 45 seconds. That's the game that we play here, right? That's the game that we play. And if you want your question to show up on the wheel, then go ahead and send that in to us, and you'll see there right under my name all the social media platforms. Dwayne Wood MD. It's TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can send a message also to dwood@dwaynewoodmd.com. So dwood@dwaynewoodmd.com. And when this answer is done, I'm going to clip it out of the video, and I'm going to create a short or reel, whatever it's called, on the different platforms. And I want you to find it on those platforms, and I want you to put hashtag I was there. Hashtag I was there, so that I know that you were here when we created this video, that reel. Okay, so let's hop back over and let's spin and let's see what question we are going to answer tonight. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Round and round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. All right, let's see. How do I treat a low blood sugar? How do I treat a low blood sugar? Okay, that's a great question. I love it. Let's see. How do I treat a low blood sugar? All right, let's get my thoughts, and let's see. All right, 45 seconds on the clock and on the screen. So how do I treat a low blood sugar? Here we go. How do I treat a low blood sugar? To treat a low blood sugar, we use what's called the rule of 15. That is, you consume 15 grams of carbohydrates, then you wait 15 minutes, you check the blood sugar again, and if it's not up or in the range that you want, then you consume another 15 grams of carbohydrates. All right, I think I did it. All right. The rule of 15s. So remember that for our diabetics, rule of 15s. All right. So I am so excited that you have been here. And once again, Dark Side 90, thank you for coming through and hanging out with us. If you are out there, please, and you're getting benefit from the videos that I'm doing, please go ahead and give a thumbs up to this video and the other videos that we've done, and share them with your family and your friends. If you've not already done so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button, and then hitting the notification bell so that you'll be notified when new content goes up. If you don't have an account, go ahead and create a free YouTube account and then hit the subscribe button and notification bell. And then finally, if there's someone in your social group, someone that you know, aunt, cousin, brother, sister, mother, father, child, anybody who wants to subscribe, but they don't know how to do it, please go ahead and help them, and then help them to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I want to just hop over and tell you once again, remind you that we do have our free offering at dwaynewoodmd.com, dwaynewoodmd.com, and it is a free resource that I've made available to you. And you just want to get over there and hit the button right here that says free 7 keys to success. And you will be able to get to this website so that you can download this free eBook. This is part of our next level series, 7 Keys to Success. Learn how successful people create the life they want. You just put your email address and your first name, and then it will allow you to download that free resource. All right. I think that's everything, right? I'm just excited to be here, guys. Christmas is coming up soon. That season, love it. I love the feel of it. and glad that you are here. So come back. We are continuing to do Vlogmas. Remember, we're expanding. So find any video that's out there, any content, and let them know that we are supporting them, that we really appreciate what they do. Okay? Thank you for being here. And we will see you tomorrow night. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and create the life you want. Good night. See you tomorrow night.